In this video, I'm going to show you how to make an inventor model of the post block, which is the third daily work project. So I'm already in Inventor, so I'm going to pick on a new part. And when this opens up, I'm going to go over to the origin and expand on the origin. Come up here and select on Project Geometry and project my my YZ plane and my XZ plane. And you can see the green lines there. And I'm going to right click, actually you have to press escape first, and then I'm going to go to center point and right click on it. I have to press escape a couple of times and just click on visibility and turn on the visibility for that. Now I'm going to go back to my front view. And so we're going to draw the base of the post block, and I'm going to use the dimensions that are shown. Let me drag that over there. Right here. And I'm going to start by drawing this base that we have right in here. And then I'll add this top extrusion to that, and then I'm going to add these two braces that we have on here, and then we'll add a hole to it. So it's fairly easy, but there's some things we can do to make it a little more interesting if we want. So I'm going to drag this out of the way, and I'm going to start my new sketch. And as I said, I'll draw the base first. So I'm going to start with a line. And I'm just going to come out here into space, and I'm going to draw across in that direction right there. I want to make sure I'm horizontal, and I'm going to type 2 and press enter. And at that point, I may have to shift around a little bit to see where I am. And the next thing I want to do is draw straight down. Let's see. Make sure I'm vertical right there. 1.75 and press enter. And then I want to come straight across, make sure I'm vertical again, or perpendicular to that in this case, and go 3.875 and press enter. And so my entire model should fit inside this right here, but at this point I'm going to press escape. So I just kind of have the three sides of my model. And I think what I'll do is use the collinear constraint and pick this edge right here and line it up on my y-axis just to get it up there like that. Okay, so now I know it's lying on that. All right, so some other things that I want to look at here are I have a line that I need to start right here at this corner. And the length of that line is actually 1.75 minus 1.125, and enter right there. And hang on, it looks like I got an extra line in there, didn't I? Let me just delete that guy out and just draw it again. So I'm going to do a line from that endpoint right there. And I want it to be 1.75 minus 1.125. And so that should be the length of that. And then I want to go across in this direction. And where I want to go across is the full 3.875. So what I'm going to do is take, for my length of this line right here, 3.875 minus 2, which I already have up there on the top. That should actually be right over that endpoint right there. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start in here, and I'm just going to draw a line straight up, and that line is going to be 0.375. And I think I went 375. Okay, hang on, let me delete that guy out. Let's try that one again, and let's draw a line just straight up, 0.375, and then There we go. And straight across to right there. And the width of this right here needs to 0.375. So I'm going to put a dimension on that line right there and type 0.375 and move that over just a little bit. And now I'm going to use the trim command. So when you pick on trim, I'm going to pick there and I'm going to pick there. Oh, let me undo that. The reason why that didn't work is I need to delete this dimension out right here. Delete. All right. Now I should be able to trim that line, because when that line has a dimension on it, it doesn't like to be trimmed. All right. Now I can trim that line. Okay, so I'm doing pretty good here, except what I need now is I need a line that comes across like this, 1.625, and then that line needs to go straight up 0.375, and then it can go straight across perpendicular to there. And actually, you see this line that I put in there originally? That was kind of a construction line. I'm going to pick it and just delete that guy out. So at this point, I believe that I have all the dimensions on this object that I need. Let me drag this one out, drag this one off, and drag this one out a little bit. Drag this one down. I just want this to look a little cleaner. This guy, come on. I want to drag that out, drag this one up above, so there's nothing inside my view. Okay, so I still have this line sticking out right here, and because it's defined by this length over here, I'm going to press escape and pick on that and press delete and take that out and do another trim. Trim that guy like that, and at that point I should be able to just type E and go into extrude. And the distance that we want to extrude this is 3.875. Let's look at that. Let's just confirm that by going over here. Yeah, the distance is 3.875. The distance this way is 3.875. So I wanted to confirm that those were the same before I did the extrusion. So I can come right in here and type 3.875 and press enter. Okay. Now, if you want to turn this view around at this point, it's pretty easy to do. When you look up here at your view cube, if you pick on a corner at the top, it will rotate your part like that. So now my part is oriented in the direction that you see it in the sketch on this. So there is another piece that sits right up here. So let me drag this over again. You see this piece that's sitting right up here? And the dimensions for it are located here. And I can see that its height is 1.125 and its width is 2. And then I can see the dimensions of the slot. And we have this rectangle that goes through. And one thing I want to point out is the distance right here is 0.376. So this is not symmetrical over here on this side. And it's important that you get that right, okay? So we're going to draw a sketch, and I'm going to show you something that you can do. I'm actually going to draw my sketch right here just to show you a new way to approach things when you're extruding. So I'm starting a new sketch, and I'm going to start with a rectangle at that corner right there. And I want that to be 2 tab 1.125 and press enter. Okay, and then I'm going to add another rectangle in here. I'm just going to pick a point, and this one I'm going to type 1.25 tab 0.312 and enter. And I'll come back and put some dimensions on that to define that. And then I need another rectangle, and this one is going to just come right through here. So I'm going to cut through the entire thing. So what I want to do now is just put a few dimensions on this. And so the dimensions are going to look like this. I need a dimension on that right there of 0.625. All right. And I want this dimension from, let's see, make sure I get this on the right side. From here to here, I want that to be 0.376, right? And I want the dimension from here to here to be 0.312. So I already have the height of that as 0.312. And then I want the dimension from this front edge to here to be 0.668, I believe. I want to make sure that that's right. Let me check my sketch. I'll go ahead and put right in 0.668. Actually, that might be 0.688. Let me look at the sketch before I go with it. I'll just go ahead and put it in, and then we can always come in and edit it right up here. So let me look at the sketch. It is actually, it's 0.688, and that's what I have is 0.668. So I want to go 688 and enter. All right, so now I have, I believe all of my dimensions are placed in this. I'm sorry. And so, you know, you can always clean your sketch up just by coming in here. Actually, you have to press escape, and then you can drag your dimensions out and drag them all off of the part if you want to. And it's not a bad idea to clean everything up. And I usually put longer dimensions outside of shorter dimensions. As you know, that's kind of our thing here. This 1.250, I don't think I'm going to be able to do much with that. I can stick it up here, but it's going to run through that. But we're not really dimensioning right now. These are just our sketch dimensions. And then up here, we should be able to drag this guy as well. Let's see if we can drag it up. That 0.376 and get it off the part. All right, so it looks like everything is pretty much off the part now, and I think I have all my dimensions. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see, we'll do a trim on this guy. I'm going to come in and do some trimming. So I want to make sure I'm getting everything trimmed correctly. And I want to trim here, 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 there. And I don't want to trim anything else, I don't think, right now. So I want to press escape. This guy may not let me delete it. Oh, it did. Okay, but I guess there was enough trimmed out of there. So I believe I have enough that I can just extrude this now. So I'm going to go ahead and type E for extrude. And this time we're going to do something that's a little different. We're going to use what's called an asymmetric extrusion. So we're going to pick on that, and it's going to ask us for a couple of dimensions. And so dimension A, I believe, is going to be the one that's running back in this direction right here. So actually that's dimension B. I'm going to type that one as 3.875. So that one will go all the way to here. And dimension A needs to stick out, looking at the sketch, 4.875 minus 3.875. All right, so you can see. So if you look at this down here, I used a formula here for A. This is A coming out to our right over here, and B is going that way. This is what an asymmetric extrusion looks like. And you couldn't do this in the old days with Inventor, you know, but a few releases ago, they came out with this asymmetric. You can do a symmetric extrusion where they're both the same distance, or you can just extrude in either the flipped or the default directions. But this asymmetric is pretty nice to have, so I wanted to show you that. So I'm going to pick OK. All right, at this point, we're going to pick on this plane right there. We're going to make a new sketch. And we're actually going to draw a triangle in here. And what you want to make sure that you don't do is snap right in there. Otherwise, you'll catch the midpoint of that edge. And so you want to just come over into here someplace. Pick on the edge, go to the corner, and then go up, and then come back to that edge right there. Now, that sketch is just going to be a triangle, and the dimensions for that triangle, it says actually in here that it's a 45 degrees. So we have to go to dimension and pick on this and pick this line right here. So I picked this line down here on the bottom and that one. I'm going to pick right there and type 45 and enter. And then I need a dimension for the length from this point to this point right here. And that should actually be 1. And once you extend this line 1 and it knows this 45, then it pushes this other one up. So you don't have to put another dimension on here. And at that point, we can finish the sketch. All right, so there's our triangle. And what we're going to do is extrude that. So I can pick on extrude. I'm going to go in the opposite direction, and my distance on this one is 0.375 and enter. All right, now one of the things we always try to do in CAD is never draw anything twice. So what I'm going to do is actually copy this guy down to here, and I'm going to use Inventor's mirror command. In order to use the mirror command though, you have to mirror around a work plane. And so normally when we mirror, like in AutoCAD, we mirror it around a line or 2 points, and then we mirror around that. But Inventor requires us to put in a work plane. So what we need to do is to add a plane. And so we haven't done this before, but right over here, you'll see work plane, okay? And when you pick on the down arrow, you have a bunch of options. And one of your options is mid plane between 2 planes. And what this is going to do, it's going to create a plane right between 2 planes. So I'm going to choose that one because the mid plane for that is halfway between this edge here and the back edge back here. So I'm going to pick mid plane between 2 planes, and I'm going to pick on this edge here, and then I'm going to go back and pick on the back edge. Now, if you have trouble picking on the back edge, go up here to your view cube and pick on the top left corner of the view cube, and then pick right here. So what it does is it establishes some work geometry right there, and this thing that plane won't print, or it won't affect anything on the part. But if you mirror something using that plane as the mirror point, and you delete the plane, you'll lose whatever was dependent on that work plane. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do the mirror now, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so let me find mirror on this thing here. I don't know why I always do this every year. The first time I do a mirror, I have to go find it. Surely you're not hiding somewhere from me, mirror. Oh, here it is, right in front of my face. Okay, so you pick on mirror, and the first thing it wants to know, and you can see it selected right here with blue, are the features that you want to mirror. So you could come down here and pick on that. But another thing you can do now, believe it or not, is you can actually go over here to the browser and pick on extrusion number 3, because that was our 3rd extrusion. You can pick that. And at that point, you don't need to pick any more features, but Inventor doesn't know that yet. So you have to actually pick on this button that says mirror plane. Now, I find that when you try to pick a mirror plane, sometimes it's better to pick on the edge of it like this. So I'm going to pick there. And when you do that, you can see sort of a image of that extrusion and where it's going to go in. And everything looks good to me, so I'm just going to pick OK. And you can see that it placed that there. All right, so the mirror plane is called a work plane right over here, and it actually shows up over here in the browser. And if you right-click on it, you should be able even to turn its visibility off. You don't want to delete it, because if you delete it, you're going to lose the mirrored extrusion. So you could come down here and just uncheck visibility. And if you needed to see it again, you could turn it back on. After a while, you get to where you don't even care whether it's on or not. Okay, so I'm going to go to my view cube again to the upper right corner and pick. And that gives me this isometric view. All right, so I need to put a hole through this, and the diameter of that hole, let me drag this over. Come on, why is it not dragging? Give me a second. Here we go. All right, so just to go back, first to show you that guy right there, there's the 45 degrees, and here's the 1 inch that we established along the bottom edge here before I extruded that. And then the width of the extrusion is 0.375. So now we want to put this hole on, and this hole is 1 inch from the front, and it's 1.938 from the back edge. Don't dimension from this. Always use the same dimensions if you can. And it says it's a diameter 0.75, and since there's no depth, we have to assume that it goes all the way through the part. All right, so let's just use the hole command. We're going to pick on the hole command, and we're going to pick on this plane right here. And this is going to be a simple hole, and it's going to be, the seat is none. We just want it to be a regular old hole. We're going to put 0.75 for the diameter of the hole. And then we're going to pick on this front edge right here and type 1. And you don't press enter after you do that. You just type 1 and it moves automatically. And then we're going to go to the back edge and we're going to type 1.938. And that moves that to where that's supposed to be. So we've already got the 0.75. We have our 2 dimensions that locate this hole, and we're ready to pick OK. All right, now at that point, I believe we have this part completely defined. And so you would want to do a file, save as, and name this as post block. And I'll do that here in a second. And usually, as I've shown you in the past, I capitalize the names of everything. So this is going to be saved as postblock.ipt, inventor part IPT. Now, if you go over here to your view cube, there is an orbit tool, and it's right here. If you pick on that, and then you come into the center of that, sort of that blue circle, and you hold down with your pick button, you can rotate this guy around in any direction, and pretty soon you'll get it all messed up, or you'll make yourself seasick or something. But in order to get it back to where you want it to be, just go back to the view cube and pick on home. Now, I knew it was going to do that because I noticed when I modeled this where it put the home button. So I just pressed escape to get out of this orbit because I want to show you how to change your home view. Okay, so we're going to go back to the view cube and we're going to pick on the top corner, or where it says front, we're going to pick on the very top left corner. And as long as you pick on these corners, when it spins around, it's going to keep an isometric view or an isometric perspective of it. So this is what I would like to be my home view, but that's not my home view right now. So what I want to do is go over to my view cube and just put my cursor on the view cube and then right click and go down here to where it says set current view as home. You see that right there, set current view as home. And then that's going to, this other menu flies out when you do that, and then just go fit to view. All right, so now when I pick on home, this is my home view, right? And so I believe that just about finishes this. There's something that doesn't look quite right about this, like it's this 0.688. Let's look at that and just check that before I go, make sure I got that on the right side. So I'm going to double click on my sketch. Oh, I didn't see this 0.688 comes from the front side. That's why this looks funny over here. So I'm going to delete this dimension out right here, and I'm going to put a dimension instead on this side. So it's 0.688 and enter. And that should have pushed that. Now I need to check and make sure that the distance from here to here is correct, because that needs to be 0.625 because I didn't have that dimension in there anymore. And so when it pushed this side in, it may have pushed that a little bit or pulled that a little bit. So the 0.376 though does come from this front edge right here. So now I'm going to finish the sketch and let it change. It should change that, and so that should be more correct right now. So hopefully this is 0.688 right here. This distance right here would be 0.625, and the overall distance is 2. So the length of this part right here should be 2 minus 0.688 minus 0.625. All right. So hopefully you've got all of that in the right place and everything looks good. And sometimes, you know, these little things that happen like that when I'm making a video are actually a good chance to show you how you can fix something. And I think the main thing, just like with AutoCAD, I always tell my students, you know, if your part doesn't look right, just stay relaxed, think it through, think what you need to fix, because you don't want to get all uptight and start developing that as a habit for the way you work. Because when you get into a job and you're working there 8 hours a day, you don't want to be all stressed out and angry and acting crazy and all that stuff. It's not good for you. So just keep calm and figure out what the problem is and just work it through. And so remember that, you know, anything we need to change over here, if it's an extrusion, we expand on it, we double click on the sketch, and then we just edit the sketch. Now, one thing I could try to do on this guy is use the collinear constraint now and pick this front edge right here and then pick, and that moves that, and then we pick finish, and it actually moves our part, but we don't see much, you know, happening with the part. But one thing that's kind of cool to do is if you look at your origin and you look at your plane here for your YZ plane and you turn it on, and then you go to your XZ plane and you turn it on, you make it visible, right? And then you right click on your XY plane and you turn on the visibility of that. You actually can see all of your planes that you used, that you referenced this part from. And this is a good idea or a good example of really what datums are. Datums are not the planes of the part. They are these sort of perfect planes that the part is butted up against. All right, so we're going to talk more about that as we go through this course. But that's one of the advantages of building your parts at the origin, or where they're, you know, lined up with the origins, so that you can turn on those planes, and those could be inspection planes if we were trying to inspect this part, in fact. All right, so that's all I'm going to say about this one. I'm going to stop the video, and hopefully you won't have any trouble building this part in Inventor.